to the Mantic Universe podcast. This is your host Matthias speaking, and we are restarting our Kings of War series after a more or less long break. This real life happens, and I'm here with the famous and fabulous Danny Graves. Hi, Danny.
I never knew I was famous. Thanks for that.
Yeah, always famous. Our ravening reporter out there in the wild, getting people on the wrong foot with the right questions. And now we are here together having an actual podcast this time. And
I feel like an adult.
Yeah, we use show notes. So this is like a big improvement of our usual talking. So let's see if this works out to the better. And our today's
you say
topic,
show notes, but they're actually written on an old scrappy piece of paper with a biro. So the show notes will not be in the show notes because I did it with a leaky pen. So I'm getting there as an adult, but I'm not quite there as an adult.
Dear listener, you won't see the show notes as a public unless Danny allows us to make a picture of his, notes. And I have to say, it's the usual way of doing things, because when I do my notes, I have also just some scrap paper on my table to write down stuff that come to my mind so I don't forget it. And then I forget to mention it on the podcast anyway, because I don't look down to my papers. So it's actual adults doing their job or something like that. Right.
But what we're doing today isn't really adult stuff. It's more kids nerd stuff, because everybody loves ranking stuff, like who'd win in a fight, like Wolverine or the Incredible Hulk, who's the best superhero. But today we're going to do who is the best champion in Kings of War. Not in champions, because the champions in champions, you can rank them in champions, but we'd have to do a champions podcast for that. But this is champions in Kings of War, not a champions podcast. Did you get that?
Yeah. I hope so. I mean, it's like you have your usual champions host now doing a Kings of War episode, the actual Kings of War. And how to say, the gaming title is a little bit confusing, because the Kings of War champions is the other game, and the champions in Kings of War champions are also champions in Kings of War. Yeah, whoever thought about that naming being a great idea, that we have to talk with him in person at a point.
I think the way the kids would describe this is we are being like so meta right now.
I'm not sure if it's the current kids or the last generation that would say that, but it's, yeah, we are on a different level actually now talking. So, right. So there's the hero class of champions in Kings of War, and those champions, the main characters from the champions games, are also in that hero class as actual champions. And we are going to rank them now for the Kings of War, the big game. And what do we think about, or what Danny thinks about, and maybe I agree with him. The ranking of those champions is from 1 to 12, and starting with 1 being the best and 11th the worst, and the 12 not yet released. So let's see what Danny's come up with his ranking list.
Okay, so you're the champions host, so you've probably played a few games of champions now. Just who do you think, starting off, is the worst champion?
It's a tricky one. I would have said the Bloody Cardinal. But
in Kings of War,
I
think the worst champion is actually in 11th place, Alanis Solstice. Yeah. Well, to start off with, she's fairly cheap. She got okay stats. She's like hitting on threes with like 5 attacks, and she's got Crush 1. So that's not too bad in combat. She's got Nerve 15, which is all right. Iron Resolve, inspiring. However, and she's fairly cheap at 125 points. But her Holy Strike is her special rule. And that reads, if a Lannis or a friendly unit within 6 inches of her is attacked in combat, before any dice are rolled, each attacking enemy unit suffers 1 point of damage. And that's, you're doing wounds, but it's a bit crap because it's not like a cloak of death. So you're charging in, you want to be doing the wound then. You don't want to be getting charged and doing the wound because you might have done the wound, but it doesn't matter because your opponent's already dead. If you see what I mean. She's doing wounds, but she's doing them in the wrong place. It's just kind of like a, yeah, whatever kind of rule. And that 15 nerve, it's, oh, sorry, wrong one. Yeah, that 15 nerve, it's good, but she's only defense 4, so she's going to be getting wounded quite a bit. And what she suffers from most is there's just better choices in the list. So for 125 points, you could take her, but for 155, you could take the Dictator. And he's the defense 5. He's got Crush 2. He's got Duelist, and he's got Rallying as well. So for an extra 30 points, I'd pay that for the Crush and the Rallying and the defense. And I wouldn't even take the Dictator because I'd take the Palace Guard Captain instead because he's virtually the same stats. He's better speed. He can pick up tokens. Plus, he's got the Brutal. So she's just kind of lost in the list. She just doesn't do anything, really.
Yeah.
So, sorry, girl. Yeah, you're number 11th. The model's okay. I've never liked the head. I remember somebody on Fanatics chopped the head off and put a knight's helmet on, and it looked a lot better. The mace is way too big for her little scrawny arms and looks out of place, which Mantic seem to do a lot with Basilian models. Like the new lance on the new paladin on dragon is horrendously big. He's never going to be able to lift that. So yeah, the model just looks could be a bit better.
This is a theme for Basileia to have oversized large weapons to like look more than they are or something like that. It's kind of because I don't think there's any model that has actual right-sized weapons. So this is
no. I do a lot of historical fighting as well, like Dark Age fighting. So I actually go out fighting with like metal weapons, like high-speed tournament skill fighting. And if you walk onto the battlefield with a weapon that size, you're dead. You'll get one swing, maybe 2, and then you're just going to have your throat cut, or you're going to be so tired you can't swing it again. To take a weapon like that onto the battlefield is a death sentence. Having a lance with a head that big is death sentence. Having a mace that heavy, death sentence. So the model doesn't quite cut it. Though, I don't know too much about her background. There was a little story in the run-up to 4th edition, which was quite nice. Showed her a little bit. But, so 11th place, Lannis Celestis. Are you happy with that? Sorry, girl, but somebody's got to come in last place.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't that far off because I was deciding between one or the other core box models for champion because like they're the first released. They are the first in design and the first edit. So yeah.
So who would you think would be next in 10th place?
Well, I would go again with the Bloody Cardinal for the same reason because it's the core box model. But I guess I'm wrong again.
Yes, you are. I'll say so. For next worst, I'm going to go for Jordan Tallinson because he's a nice model. I really like the little birdie thing, which is quite good fun. But he's only got 3 attacks. I mean, the defense 5 is nice, but like he's not going to do anything in combat. He's got a quite nice shooting attack. So it's 15 inches. It's got 6 shots instead of his basic 3. It's indirect, piercing 1, which is quite nice. But Northern Alliance aren't really a shooting army. And under the new rules, a little bit of shooting doesn't really do much. You really need a lot of shooting. You need a lot of focus fire to like really hammer it in. So he'll do a little bit, but he won't do much. He's only 140 points. He's got Pathfinder and Scout, so the best use for him, I'd think, would be to run him up with some other units, maybe up a flank, and just use that Scout and Pathfinder to spend the entire game hiding behind a little bit of scenery, out of charge arc, just peppering people with shots, and then maybe in the last turn or two, run off and try and grab an objective.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but you're spending 140 points for that when you could be buying another unit that's actually going to have an impact on the game.
I mean, it's still a cool model. So you pay 100 points or 140 points to have a cool model on the table. That's you might have nicely painted because it's still a nice hero. So yeah.
Guess. Plus he's got Scout and Inspiring, so he's scouting up, and Icekin Hunters have Scout, so you can put them up with and if you've got quite a lot of Icekin Hunters, you could scout up with them, give them Inspiring from the get-go. But that's not really a massive game-changing thing, is it?
Yeah, it's more like if you want to, you can do it, but it's not like you build around something. It's like how to feel. If you're short 100 points and don't know what to do else, you can take one of those. I think that's the same for Alanis.
So that is 10th position, and now we're going into 9th position. Who do you think it is now?
Ooh, I make a wild guess, and no, Grunk.
Grunk. Ooh, interesting choice, but you're wrong again.
It's like me. Ooh, how bad a player must I be to know? I mean, to be honest, that's not all my faction. So it's like might be that I'm at the moment more into abysses and armies. So I'm ranking my own champions worse than the other ones for reasons.
Well, for 9th place, I've gone for Zach, the Salamander Mage Priest. It might be a bit controversial. I'm not too sure about this, but for 180 points, he is a lot of change. I mean, he's got the individual Inspiring, and the 2 spells he's got Fireball 6, which is very good, and it's got Piercing 1, so he can kick out a lot of shots. And he's also got Bane Champ, which is also very useful. Also, he's got some special rules, which means fuel for the fire. So if he's within 6 inches of some fire elementals, it gives a leap to his fireball. And again, if he's within 6 inches, it can increase the amount of dice rolled to a maximum bonus of 2. So the best you're going to get out of him is more or less reliant on having him sit behind 2 regiments of fire elementals. Otherwise, he's not that wonderful. He's an okay-ish mage priest, but he's twice the point of a mage priest. And annoyingly, he's got D6 attacks in combat. So he's fantastic, and he doesn't have the piercing, the crushing strength like regular mage priests or salamanders do. So in combat, he's quite bad. He's got the defense 5. He's 13 nerve, so he could probably hold up a unit for 30 attacks there. And when you've got things like Gekato Skylords, Artackle in your champions list, it's a bit of a struggle. The Bane Chant's good, but let's face it, there's a lot of crushing strength in the Salamanders list. The Fireball's quite good, but again, because the 4th shooting rules, you really need to focus fire. So he'll be quite good adding to maybe a couple of Corsair units, but at that point you're taking Firebrand anyway, and you're not putting them with your fire elementals. So he's just a weird place, really. He's got some all right rules, but they just don't quite synergize enough for that 180 points. What do you think?
I think that the biggest problem are the synergies with him. It's you need the dedicated units to support him that might not fit the rest of the army or your theme. So once you start building around him, you go into a very different direction with the army as a whole than you might want or wanted to do from a starting point. So yeah, So it's a nice one when you get it, or when the list suits you, or you wanted to do fire elementals heavy anyway. But otherwise,
Oh,
like if you go
actually,
into Corsair, it's
I would like to back up and apologize to everybody because I didn't read it right. Flamebound traits are actually Salamander Primes and Unbloodeds, Kaizenor Lancers. I thought it was the fire elementals, and I was about to rage that it didn't have Surge, and I got it completely wrong. And now nobody's going to listen to me for the rest of the list.
no, it's fine. I kind of missed it either, so it's like, yeah, it's not the elementals, it's the other ones.
Yeah, so a lot of basic stuff. So Corsairs, so we will work with Corsairs. So maybe he doesn't deserve the 9th, but I have read Hero Falling, and I can't stand the character anyway. Have you ever just read a book and you think, I hope this guy dies? So he gets massively knocked down for that. So
I mean, I have at least an excuse that is still not my army, so I don't need to know those champions that well. Well, I also have to say I played champions with champions, obviously, but for Kings of War, I'm not that much into playing named characters in general because I like to have my characters. So, how do you feel? Do you take the named characters a lot in general, or avoid them for other reasons outside the rules?
For me, I'd say because I really like what I call emotional engagement with the game. So it takes it from like just little plastic things on a table to actual people. You can understand the reasons they're fighting. It's almost like characters that you read about and you think, I like this guy. I want this guy to do well. It's one of the reasons I love Pegasus. I love horses. I've always loved horses. I hate taking them in a game, even though they're amazing, because it really upsets me when they die and you have to use them as chaff. And I hate throwing Pegasus away as chaff because I don't want the horses to die. Same with halflings. I absolutely love dogs. I love the Arales riders. So I've got more of them in my army than the basic foot guys because I love dogs, but it upsets me when they die. I like that emotional engagement, something that actually draws you into the game. So when you read a character in a novel and you think, I love this guy, and you get a real sense of who they are and how they'd feel, what was happening. So I play Free Dwarfs a lot. Best Free Dwarf player in the world, statistically. They've gone. However, I qualified for Masters 3 years in a row in the UK with Free Dwarves. And I took Hernius. He's not that great in the game, but I took him to Masters. Spheri I always took. Kragoth and Kolarm, Bannock Kolarm. I took them in pretty much all my games just because I really liked having the pair. Turn 1, they'd scout up, they'd fireballed off a zombie horde together at one point. It was beautiful. So I really like having characters in the game. So if there's a character I don't like, I'm like, I will go out of my way. If my opponent's using that character, I will go out my way to kill the little bastard. Even if I lose a unit for it, I don't care. I've done some good in the world. So,
right.
Yeah, I really do like the name characters. It just adds a little bit of flavor, a little bit of character. Yeah. That's one thing I love about with these champions in 4th. I don't mind they've kind of retired some of the older characters, but they've brought these new ones in. They've got really great new models. They're putting in extra background. It ties in with the champions game. This is definitely one of the things I'm liking most about 4th. So, but yeah, Zach, don't like him. He's a walking dinosaur. I want him like tearing people's faces off, like taking their legs out with a tail, like stamping on their heads, using claws to rip their throats out, disembowel them. But in the book, he's just like, oh, I ran off because I'm really sad. I miss everybody back home. I'm like, you're a dinosaur, man. You should be killing somebody right now.
Yeah. Oh, no emotional engagement with the emotional characters. That's the...
Yeah. So that brings us down to 8th place. Who do you think's in 8th place now?
Ooh. I mean, I
You've already mentioned him.
so I have a 50-50 chance to say it's Grunk.
It is Grunk. Well done. You finally got one right.
Yeah.
So in 8th place, we have Grunk Blackclaw. He's pretty expensive for a Goblin unit at 165 points, but it's a gorgeous model and he's very unique. You don't really have a lot of other units in Kings of War like him. I mean, like the dwarves have the defense 6 guys with the gun and what have you, but he is super characterful. He's okay in combat. I mean, he's hitting on 4s with Crush 2, 5 attacks, which is pretty good for goblins. He's toughness 5, which is great for goblins, and his gun is just amazing. Not only is he shooting evil puppies at people, it's blast 2, piercing 1, vicious. So he's not fantastic. I don't think he'll win many games. He's not especially fast, but he's super characterful. That gun will join in beautifully with all those war trombones and mop-up launchers.
Yeah.
It's just super characterful. He's got a great gun. I say he's pretty tough for goblins. And the model is absolutely, baby, beautiful. He's not quite as good as some of the other champions, but he's not as bad as the ones we've just talked about. So 8th place, I think, is reasonable for Grunk Blackclaw. What do you think?
But as far as I have now checked, you got the rules right this time. So
I'm never going to live it down.
It's like, no, I just sorry, not nothing against you. I just had opened the once in a while I have a bright idea, and this time I thought, yeah, should open the compendium in the back so that I can double check what you're saying.
I'm just going through the rule book, so I'm having to flick through pages. Like, where the hell's the goblin list? I didn't even find Grunk. I had to actually do Grunk from memory. So I did quite well getting all the rules right. Go me, adulting again.
Yeah.
And that brings us to number 7. I'm not even going to let you guess this one. I'm going to tell you straight out this time. You were right. It is the Bloody Cardinal. How's that make you feel?
Yeah. Right. So, average, I guess. So we are now reaching more or less the middle of the rankings. So having the Abyss character being average is how I feel about him, more or less, because it's my army.
I think B's a good position. Cool. So he's low defense. I mean, he's only defense 4, but he's got a beautiful life leech 3. And so if you put him into like a decent unit of chaff or a regular foot regiment, there's a good chance he might actually outgrind it.
Yeah.
He's 140 points, which isn't bad. And he's just about on par with the Despoiler points wise. So the Despoiler's got regen. The Bloody Cardinal's got life leech. He's just kind of like a different Despoiler. But importantly, he's got dread. And having something like dread doesn't just apply to his attacks. That's a force multiplier. He's giving it out to everybody around him, and that is just sweet. And he's Crush 2, and he's got 6 attacks. So you're putting him in a flank because he's small, he's sneaky, he can get around places. All those extra attacks, Crush 2 with dread, he can actually put out some decent damage if you roll well. So I say he's get him in because of his low defense. You get him in the right place at the wrong time. Oh, sorry, the wrong place at the wrong time. He's going to die like that. But if you get him in the right place at the right time with that life leech and those attacks, he's going to do some serious work. So, yeah, he's a good, okay, middle of the range for his price. The Bloody Cardinal is an okay guy. I love his background as well. He's like a fat bishop or something who just was too opulent and ended up eating himself into the abyss, which I fully approve of. There's a big range of sins.
Yeah.
And he knew what he was doing and he went for it and he got rewarded with a big hammer. So, yeah, good for him. He achieved his goals in life.
also the better looking model compared to the despoiler. So at least for me, it's like you want him to have him in the army. So it's like even if you don't know what to do with, the dread comes in handy. So it's like inspiring and dread. Just put him somewhere in the middle of the fight and have it going, and the extra attacks help. So yeah, it's a more
I really love the
flavorful
model as
display.
well.
Yeah.
One of the best abyssal models is the warlock on top of the fat demon imp, and it's got a hint of that about it. So I love that they've taken that theme and just run it across the army. It's a little bit comical, but also you don't want somebody that fat coming at you on the battlefield. You're like, even if I stab him, am I going to stab him through enough fat to actually do any damage? It's scary, man. You don't need that much gut coming at you.
Once he starts rolling, he won't stop. So it's
cool. Okay, so now we are up to 6th place. We've not got too many left now. Who are you going to go for 6th place?
Oh, I would say Xorxoi is up there as well.
I'm going to say you're wrong again. We're actually going to go with Lathael Voidheart.
Ooh.
So she's good, but she's kind of a weird one because she's super fast because she's got speed 7 and she's got Pathfinder and she's got Strider. So she's really good in terrain. However, she's only melee 4 with 4 attacks. I mean, she's got Vicious, so that'll convert a little bit, but she's not especially good in combat. Because she's fast and she's sneaky, she can get around. If you get her in a flank, she might help out in a combat. But the best thing she's got is her special rule, which is Crone Leech. So before to roll to hit with her lightning bolt, she can choose to add up to 3 damage to any one friendly unit that's crone bound, so Night Stalkery stuff, anywhere within 12 inches. And for every damage they suffer, you get 2 extra dice for your lightning bolt, which means she can really, really pump out some damage. She can potentially put that up to 9 lightning bolt, which is great. However, like we just talking about the Abyssal Warlock, when I played Abyssals, I used to love Zazu, and I had a little battery unit near me. So a lot of people use gargoyles because you'd take wounds off them and they'd regen it back, and you'd basically use them as a flesh battery to power your lightning bolt. And I used to have a little unit of imps, and they'd sit behind a piece of terrain, and all game, I just sacrifice imp after imp after imp to give me extra lightning bolts. They'd finish the game like decimated, barely any left, and then I'd kill another one just for fun. And it gave me loads of lightning bolty stuff. Then maybe they'd be alive to go on, like, get an objective. And the problem with that is, if Lathael's doing that, she's taking wounds off units you really don't want to be taking wounds off. So all your crone-bound stuff. So you've got your butchers, you've got your soul flayers, you've got your mind screech, your reapers. These are units that are quite fragile anyway. Well, the butchers aren't, but the mainline unit, you don't want to be putting wounds on them because then they're going to die. So you're hurting your own guys. You've got no real way of getting a lot of wounds back on those units. So it's good, but it's also kind of risky. And I don't like that. She's only defense. She's got nerf 15, which is okay. She's only defense 4, which makes her quite fragile in that respect. So I think probably the best use for her is because she's fast, she can go through terrain. It's again with Jordan Taliesin, it's that turn 5 or 6, she can just go woo across the board through a woods and claim a final objective, get a loot counter, maybe hit somebody in the back. The first couple of turns, kick out a couple of lightning bolts, maybe do a round of combat if she's joining one, and then the last couple of turns go and get objectives. So she's very versatile. She can do a lot of stuff. She's just not amazing at any single one of them. So she's an okay all-rounder. So
I mean, I have to add to this one that the last turn lightning bolt is an option here as well, because it's in as you said, usually you don't have that. There's no sacrificial or chaff crown bound unit in there. So you only have the ones that you don't want to hurt or don't want to damage early on. But like when you know you have the last turn to get out some high bumped lightning strike for no hurting at all because it doesn't really matter anymore, and then it's like to get that one unit off with a good strike might be the option I was thinking about, the Crone Leech in general. Not something you want to use early on, but something late in the game anyway.
Yeah. So like, yeah, a unit out on the flank, it's not going to get like, there's no chance of it getting wounded in the last couple of turns, leech away, and hopefully, because of the new shooting rules, a unit has to be devastated before it pops. So potentially, if a unit's really, really damaged and it's only got a couple of nerve left, you do that on the last turn, you might pop it off, or you might waver another one, which means they stall for a turn and they can't quite get over into that objective, or they can't get into that table quarter that they need to do. So yeah, tactically, she's a good unit. She's got lots of possibilities, but she's not, she's not going to do the damage, if you see what you mean.
Yeah.
Some games she might win you the game. Other games you might have to charge her into a flank and somebody will just slap her down and kill her in one go. She's all right. Which and it's a great model, and she's had 3 iterations over the game. So it's almost like she's a sister at this point. We've grown up with her. We want her along for the journey.
Yeah.
Which brings us on to it's getting tense now. We are now up to 5th place. And who do you think that is?
Well, I would say Xorxoid because I don't rate him that high, so that I don't think he's A tier. So
you're going to be proud of yourself because you got the right answer. It is indeed Zorzoi, the Prowlmaster. Basically, is very similar to Oshi. I don't know if Zorzoi is a boy's name or a girl's name.
It's a dog, so it's
Let's go with So very similar to Lathael with that speed 7, with Pathfinder. Again, very good at running off and getting objectives in the last turn. With the scout, means you can get up there even quicker. Stealthy keeps them alive. 165 points. It's fairly expensive for a unit like that. And again, 4 attacks hitting on 4s, not brilliant in combat. However, the longbow, piercing 1 on 4 attacks with elite, it's not going to do a lot on its own, but it's inspiring for the hunters. So if you've got a load of planestalkers, it's fantastic to go with them. You scout them all up. She's got elite, putting in the extra shots, inspiring them. And then once per game, you can use her special rule, the alchemical powders, and her shots have blast 2, which could really tip it if you're lucky at the right time. So again, like Lathael, and indeed a little bit like Jordan Tallinson, but not so much because he's crap. You scout up, you hide behind terrain, just all game, just plinking away, shot after shot after shot, hopefully having some impact, and then turning and running and grabbing an objective. So this gets slightly higher than Lathael because Zorzoi Prowlmaster might be one of the best models that Games Workshop. I really cocked up there, didn't I?
Yep.
One of the best models that Mantic have ever produced. A lot of people go on about Mantic models being and you've got like Games Workshop who do like some amazing stuff. The 3D printers, like some of the sculpts are amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of people think like a lot of Mantic models really lag behind, but Zorzoi Prowlmaster is one of those models that you can go, no, they didn't. You can take this and shove it up your bum. Look how great this model is. So, I mean, we love it.
You said it right. He would get a lot of more praise when Games Workshop would have released him. So he suffers a little bit from being a Mantic model and therefore doesn't isn't allowed to be great or awesome. And I think it's one of those models where we say that the tactical rock was done right.
Yeah. Obviously, they're not using tactical rocks properly. The only way you should actually, in a fight, use a tactical rock is in a sock and thrown at somebody's face.
Yeah. I mean,
but yeah, it's a gorgeous model.
It's great. I especially like the.
There's some.
Sorry, go on.
The Zerkali, I really like the range. I love the Hemisian ones, but my favourite ones by far in the army are the Planestalkers, and just have like a really nice character alongside them. If I could do an entire army of them, I would, but I'm not going to because I don't want to paint that many. But yeah, if I was going to do a champ, I've got nobody near me to play champions, but if I did play champions, I'd definitely go for Zorzai Prowlmaster, purely because I want to paint that model.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's good
that
they now.
5.
Yeah. Who now it
there
gets
you go.
tricky. I would say the Void Talon.
Left. Ooh, interesting choice, but you're wrong again. For 4th place, we're going to go for Arakamora.
Ooh.
So she is fantastic. I played a tournament a couple of weeks back down in Bristol, which was loads of fun. And one of the guys there was using her, and I will hold my hands up. I read her rules, thought she's fantastic, completely forgot what she did and charged in. And she has Slayer D6 and she's got Brutal too. And at that point, I was like, I might have actually cocked up here. Luckily, I didn't. And the game was a draw in the end. I managed to shut him down. I killed the chariots next to him, but she stuck around for a lot longer than I hoped she would. And next to the siege breakers, that extra little Brutal really came in handy and popped off in one of my units. So I was like, oh, I like her. Not right now, but I like her. I mean, she's a lot of points. She's 185 points, but she's totally worth it. Speed 7 with Pathfinder. Again, she's getting places and being able to get up and like collect tokens in the last turns. But also melee 3 with 6 attacks and crushing strength 1 and brutal. She's really rock hard in combat. I mean, she's only defense 4, nerf 14, so she's a little bit squishier than some of the other ogre characters, but she's got ensnare. And with ensnare and Slayer D6, if you charge her into something like a giant, which only hits on 4s, that giant's now hitting on 5s. So on an average, it's going to roll 11 attacks. So that's going to be 3 hits. With nerf 14 and her Slayer D6 and a regular 6, so she could potentially kick out 12 attacks hitting on 3s, crush 1 with brutal aura, with a brutal. She could potentially outgrind a giant. I'm not saying she's going to do it every time, but the potential's there. So if you use her against the right units, I mean, that Slayer, she's brilliant at like large infantry units. You get her in the flank, she's going to cream through stuff. So she is fantastic. Also, she's got a little shooting attack. 5 attacks at 12 inches, piercing 1, always hits on 4s. So that's just adding a little bit extra. I mean, why is she not first? She's not first because she does not inspire. Which wouldn't be a problem on another character, but because she's unique, you can't put the inspiring talisman on her, which would then make her like, you know, she's the cutest girl in school. Everybody's going to ask her out to the prom, but she's not got that inspiring talisman around her neck. So I'm sorry, one of the nerds is going to have to ask her out instead because she's amazing. But when you're spending 185 points on a character, you need them to inspire. And she just doesn't. What do you think?
Well, how to say, Slayer D6 is always something a gambling on that way. It's so for those people who know how to roll sixes, it's great. Those who always roll ones, it's too risky. But then it's I like her already for the brutal aura, because this is something that really goes well with the other ogres. And like giving a hunter troop next to her somewhere to go on that giant, and then it's really going to make troubles. It's also something I think not everyone has realized now, that with the fourth edition combat or sticky combats, that ensnare and those rules are much more valuable than in the past, to a point, because now it's really on the uh, previously it's like, you are just one round in combat, everyone moves out, and then you shoot them, and your ensnare is worthless. But now it's much more valuable in my as I see it, and the characters with ensnare are good ones, even though if they look squishy at the first glance. So I would agree that she's like A tier, not perfect, but in a very good place.
Yep, I definitely agree with you there. And again, it's the inspiring issue, which basically means you're going to have to take another character, which isn't a problem at the moment, because the ogre ones, they can all pick up tokens, they all score. Ogre units, ogre characters are brilliant, so taking another one or two isn't a massive drama. But it also means if you move her out of inspiring, when you want, like, unlike Lethael and units like that are fast and they can go off and score objectives, she's not then inspired herself when the others are. So she needs to be in inspiring range of somebody else to make full use of her abilities. So maybe sticking her with a near a matriarch who's very inspiring and it's fairly cheap. I think that's a good trade-off of having two fairly equal decent characters, as opposed to having something super big and heavy and smashy like Grokkamok. So it's a nice option. So, but we definitely like her. And that brings us to the last three, the top three best champions in Kings of War. So who have we got left?
Well, so out of the three, we have the Void Talon, Axel, and our Halfling. So Terran Blight. I still think the Void Talon isn't in the perfect score, so would put that one at third place. Wrong again?
I am going to disrespectfully disagree with you on that point, because I put Taran Bly as third place. I'm not a big fan of the model. Having been on the back of a vehicle where it's going that fast, you don't fly out like that unless you've got arms like steel. So he's not going to be holding on to that. He's going to be on the road while that trundles off into a ditch. It's big and spiky, but I absolutely love the Harvester model. So if there's a choice, I'd probably take the Harvester model. The Harvest, it's a similar sort of thing, but the Harvester is a lot better in defense. Taran Bly is brilliant on attack. And it's one of the things that Halfling list doesn't have a lot of is punch, at least not to this degree. So he's hitting on threes, which is good. He's got 5 attacks, but because of his rolling thunder, you roll for his wild charge, D3, and that D3 plus 2 is the number. It's not just the wild charge, it's also the number of bonus attacks you get. So that could potentially be 10 attacks. But hitting on threes, that's good. But this is the juicy bit. Crush 2, Thunder 1, and Strider means he is just going to be deleting stuff. If you get that guy in the flank, that's just like game over, man. That is hitting on threes, wounding on twos, between 6 to 10 attacks in the front, get him in the flank, get something in the rear. He could potentially delete like a horde. Possibly not. I'm just really excited. And he's 165 points. defense 5, 14 nerve. He's pretty tough as well. So for 165 points, I think that boy is a bargain. And despite those rules, that's not the thing I love about him most. In the background, he's kind of a dickhead. You just think he's an annoying little prat. However, there's one bit in the back of the rule book where he's written a letter. He's like, "Hey, Mum, hi, Dad. I'm having loads of fun. It's great. I'm not dead yet." And then the next letter's like from his dad's friend, who's one of the RLS riders in the champions box, who's just gone out to look after him. He's like, "He's not dead yet. I know I said I'd look after him, but he's an absolute dickhead. He's driving me nuts. It's really hard to keep him alive. I know I said I'd do this for a favor, but to be honest, you're going to have to pay me or something because this is just too much." And that is one of the most characterful, beautiful little moments. It's because we've got monsters, we've got dragons, we've got snow trolls, we've got all sorts of things. But that is one of the most human bits of lore in Kings of War that I can relate to. Everybody can feel that. It's just like, "Oh, your Auntie Susan's coming over. Hi, Auntie Susan. Can you look after the kids for 3 days while me and the husband go out of town?" And Auntie Susan just dies inside. And you can feel that pain in that letter. And that is beautiful. And even though I don't like Taron Bly as a person, I'm sure he's got his good points. His rules are great. Like I say, the model's not my thing, but it's a super fun model. It wouldn't be a chore to paint it, I'd say. Yeah, so it's great. So he's definitely got third place for me. What do you think?
I mean, I'm picking up the lore point here first because also looking at the artwork and the model and describing the last part of, or the last letter from looking after him, it's the description you said in the beginning is, yep, he's holding there with his hand. When that thing goes full speed, he's sitting there lying on the road with a bloody nose because he doesn't have the armor of steel, but that might be the reason why he's still alive. So that model kind of fits that background of this young lad not really knowing what he's doing, just pressing a button, rushing forward, and he lays somewhere on the road and looking what his engine is doing. It's I would say fitting.
If I was to get the model, I'd convert it. So I'd convert it upside down with a nail sticking out of his trousers, and he's upside down. He's caught his leg on something, and he's screaming as the machine just goes wild, and he's on the back going, "Ah, somebody stop it!"
Please help.
I absolutely love ridiculousness. One of my favorite Mantic models is the Swamp Belcher, the Fat Dragon. I absolutely love it. Was the one thing I was looking forward to most in 4th edition, but the new army list builder absolutely screwed me. I didn't have enough core choices. My whole army list that I was using before was just garbage now. I tried using halflings. The list is just not working for me. And if I took the Swamp Belcher, I can't use one of my Iron Beasts. I can't use the Aeronauts I spent ages painting. I can't use my Harvester, which is one of my favorite models. So I'm upset I didn't get around to painting it. And I don't want to get it and paint it just to sit on the shelf. I want to use it. So, yes, swearing at Mantic for that one.
Yeah, we may or may not see something with the not the upcoming book, but the next one, Arrogance, to might be, because it was already announced to get it was in previous edition called Clash of Kings update, so not the tournament, but the yearly balancing book that refreshes some army lists and corrects some mistakes. We may get something for halflings there to change things a little bit around in that regard. So maybe you get something there. And here I have to. Sorry.
And while we're on the subject of maybe, I hope Mantic are listening to this, because the one my favorite characters out of all the books, out of all the novels, is Aaron Cadwallader. He's absolutely fantastic. Like I said before, that human element. Broken Alliance is my favorite book by far. Usually when I'm reading a book, I don't get much time at home. I could be painting or writing myself. So I'll read a chapter a day at work on my break. You know, a good model, a book is good when I'm reading it at home. And I just sat and read half of Broken Alliance in one go one day, just at home on a Sunday. I was like, this is good, so good. I don't want to put it down. And then in Stand a Callenspire, it carried on Aaron's story, and he was brilliant in that. The way he's like interacting with the elves and the other races, genius. And we still haven't got a bloody model for him, not even in the vault. And Ali McSween, who does not want a red-headed halfling thief? They got done in the Invasion book, and we still haven't got a model for them. Swear, swear, swear words, swear words, swear words.
Yeah. So we try to be kids friendly here. So still, I don't know if someone from Mantic is listening actually, but if they are, you know what to do now. If you're not listening, but someone else is, then please tell Mantic what we are talking about and from our wish list. So maybe word is taking along, finding the way to the Mantic HQ, and we got some halfling models. At least
of course,
the
they're
good
going to
ones.
be listening. We are the best podcast in the world.
At least the one that tries to cover every topic and horrendously fails about that because no one of us has enough time to go into everything at once. Yeah, right. Well, the other talking halflings in general, what I like about them is like, how to say, they are more like the comic relief faction of Kings of War, while other games doing this with goblins or have other, well, more fantasy races doing this, while halflings are usually a little bit more serious taking. And the Mantic ones are really there's the comic relief. You have all this fun stuff in there, those tinkering, the steampunk elements, and yeah, the fat dragon that still can blow fire and is used as a war machine that way. We have the Dracon Rider, fix him up, well, animals that others left behind. So you get those bats. So this is also a bat faction when I think they care about the animals. They have this good relationship with them and things like that. And then you get all these others, troll guns or the forest trolls in. So yeah, I really like that from the humorous point of the game. So it's the goblins are the serious evil guys, and we have the halflings as the comical ones. I really like the halflings.
I mean, there's a few things. I mean, you can't deny the fat dragon in the wheelchair, Taran Bly, forest troll lawnmower. It's comical, but also, especially if you read the background novels, they're just really human. You can really relate to it. It's almost like people you know from down the street coming out of their homes, like a small like countryside community coming together to fight together, just coming up with ingenious ways to try and beat the enemy because you're 4 foot tall and that's all you can do. And on the dogs and stuff. I mean, riding dogs, to us it's ridiculous, but if you're in that fantasy world, it's there's one story, one of them comes really attached to a dog, and anybody who's got a dog at home is just like, oh, that's just like me and Rover. It's really sweet. Brings a tear to your eye, man. So yeah, I love halflings.
I mean,
like I say, because they're almost more human than the kingdoms of men and the Basilians. Like Basilians are very focused religious fanatics, and
yeah,
we all know how well that goes down in human history.
I mean, yeah, Basilia is more lawful than good, so this is the other point, and it's
yeah, but the halflings could be your next door neighbor. So I really love that. I say just pure human aspect to them. It's almost like if you wanted to put humans on the battlefield, put down halflings. That I love them, and they've got some of the best model ranges in the game.
Yeah. I would say it's call it the most consistent one, because they're all like in a very similar style and don't suffer from needing to carry old models from previous editions around that were made in a different design and different factory. So it works well for them. And also, except that we are missing some of the named characters and hero models, it's already pretty complete.
Swearing.
But I also have to say, when you mention riding dogs and you feel about it, at least it might be something where I come from, but the usual dogs on the countryside, on the farms, were, how to say, bigger than what the modern day city dwellers have, and everyone as a kid tried to ride them. It's not like this is something you you didn't do. So I can relate to the halflings riding on dogs very well, actually. It's
well, like I was saying earlier, I do like historical fighting, and we did the Battle of Clontarf out in Ireland, in Dublin, and something like 80,000 people came to see the show over the weekend. They had Viking ships like dry docked, the massive battlefield, big history encampment. It was absolutely fantastic. And Battle of Clontarf is like the English Hastings. And it was all scripted, but we did doing like proper fighting. And the Irish army, as they walked on, they had a guy running at the front with a couple of Irish wolfhounds next to them. And these things were up to the size of his chest. And it was just with the Irish, those dogs that size, war dogs running alongside the rest of the army with the banners. It was just one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It was absolutely brilliant. So being able to put that onto the battlefield as well, it's when you see things on films, you think that's cool. You're watching Braveheart or Gladiator or whatever, and you want to like translate that kind of feeling, that epicness onto the tabletop. That's great. But when you see it in real life, it's just like, yeah, I'm home.
Yeah, I think, how to say, Braveheart is a bad example of something that Braveheart kind of was cool when we watched it because we were young, and then we have seen the real thing, and that is way much cooler than the film ever was.
I've got a massive soft spot in my heart for Braveheart, just because I mean I've been 14, 15 when that came out. So in like my formative years, and before that, like one of my favorite films was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Even despite Kevin Costner's accent, it was just like brilliant.
Yeah, see, like, that's something, the advantage that I have is being from Austria. We only have mostly dubbed films, so Kevin Costner's accent in an English film was never a problem. It's so
you don't know how lucky you are.
Yeah, I really liked that film. As always, I watched them a lot when I was a kid. I mean, I have a soft spot for the old Robin Hood films in general. So when I was a kid, it was like the Errol Flynn Robin Hood. Don't know the actual title of that one.
Yeah, there was a Robin of Sherwood, was it?
Yeah, something like that. And
I remember Errol Flynn. There's a lot of films like that, like Ivanhoe as well.
So the very colorful ones, and then you got the Walt Disney Robin Hood version, which was like, that movie
with
just
the
for
Planestalkers.
Yeah, I loved it just for the singing around and for the music. And then there was the King of Thieves with Kevin Costner. And when I was young, I never understood the hate that movie got, because, well, I watched it, I liked it. There was this one thing about the trousers, because this, I think it was Costner himself who refused to wear tights, so they had to change the costumes to be a little less unrealistic, so that he would do the things. But then it's like, it took years until I understood, when I really finally watched the original version. Okay, it's about this accent and not something else. It's like,
well, it's upsetting, because Robin Hood's supposed to be a hero, and no man with any kind of dignity would ever refuse to wear tights in public.
Yeah.
On that note, we should probably stop talking about Robin Hood and get back to our list, because we're focused professional adults and we know what we're doing. So that Taron Bly was number 3. And now we're down to our last two. Who do you think
So
is
it's
number two?
I go for the Void Talent because the lovely model that Alex is need to be number one. So or Axel.
I'm gonna have to disappoint you. I've actually this was very contentious. I upset myself. I couldn't quite decide, but in the end, I had to put Axel Tricklebuck as number two. He's fantastic. He's very expensive at 185 points. He's all right in combat. He's okay at shooting, not his strong points. His regen 4+ is okay. He's very helpful for chip damage. Excuse me. So if he's in combat, he might outgrind some chaff if he's lucky. The one ultimate thing he's brilliant at is his elite aura. Oh my. For all the sea monsters, giving elite to those things, krakens and coral giants and knuckers and elementals and gigas. Oh my. For gigas alone, elites, you can put the vicious command on, stick him in the middle of your army, and you will not be disappointed. I was disappointed when they redid the Trident Realms and all we got was loads of frogs. And I wanted all the deep sea nonsense. I wanted depth horrors. I wanted placoderms, and we didn't get them. But now we've got them, and they've all got elite. It's almost like, our prayers were listened to. And Axel Tricklebuck, again, like Zorzai Pearlmaster, one of the best models in the game. Even if it didn't have the model, I would just quite happily have Splish. That little cutie water elemental is the cuting, cutest thing ever in Kings of War. And if you do not like Splish, you do not have a heart, and you do not deserve to play this game. And that's the end of it.
Well, we may need a unit out of those. It's
I've my force of nature. I've got 2 hordes of water elementals, and the greater water elemental. The greater water elemental is probably my favorite Mantic model of all time. I love painting it. It's just so dynamic. The first time I looked at it and went, "What the hell is that thing?" And I looked at it again and went, "That's amazing. I love that." So that's brilliant. So I'm quite tempted to get the 3D sculpt of Axel Tricklebuck, get rid of Axel Tricklebuck, and just have a massive Splish model as my greater water elemental.
Well, that might work actually very well. I mean, you can just get all the water theme around and just make like Axel or replace Axel as the model with a rock or something like that, and then just get the small little one as your large elemental. This like to.
Well, it's a good idea, but as you learned as we were setting up this podcast, my ability with technology kind of ends with a stick. So that I can just about manage to 3D print stuff that's already been sorted out for me. Doing all that as well is not a hope in hell. I could sculpt give me 20 minutes. I can sculpt you an elemental out of green stuff or modeling putty, but doing it on a laptop, I have no chance whatsoever.
Yeah. So, dear listener, if there's anyone out there good at 3D sculpting and now know what we want to do, you could make Danny very happy by helping it out and giving him a little big water elemental.
Water elementals, what I wanted to do as well, take the greater water elemental, scale it up a little bit, and in my goblin army, I was going to put it in my goblin army, and I was going to have a goblin on a surfboard on its back, drinking out of a bottle while peeing, and the pee and so I was going to paint the entire greater elemental like pee, so the goblin was peeing and the pee was magic and making a greater pee elemental. I never got round to it, but it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to steal ideas for their armies, you know whom podcast you need to listen to. We have much more ideas than time and what we can make. So
yeah, but the problem is people listen to my ideas, then they put them on the table, and everybody's just going to look at you in disgust and go, "Oh, you got that idea from Danny, didn't you?" It's like, how can you tell?
yeah,
It's covered in bogeys. It's like, I resent that fact. I mean, I like bogeys, but I'm not like bogey centric or something. I'm experimental. Right. So yes, number 2, Axel Tricklebuck, expensive, but he's worth it for that elite aura. And again, he's inspiring everybody around him. Bit of shooting, bit of combat, regen gives him a bit of grind. That's all okay for the aura elite and the model. And in Standard Callenspire, he's basically the Gandalf character. He goes around, he sticks his nose into everybody's business, gets them all to ally up and help each other. And Splish, again, is the cutest in the world. So Axel Tricklebrook made number 2, which leaves number 1 as
the Void Talon.
The Void Talon. So yeah, Axel Tricklebrook and Void Talon are S tier by far, but the Void Talon squeezes it because it's brilliant. It's 185 points, so about the same price as Axel, but it is so worth it. That Cloak of Death, and it's an extra wound. Causes dread, -1 to nerve. And that, unlike Brutal and Dread, these two actually stack. So that's an extra wound, takes an extra nerve off, and it's rallying. It's fast, it's good in combat, and because it's Night Stalkers, you don't have to worry about that inspiring issue. It is beautiful. So what's it got? 6 attacks, Thunderous 1, Vicious. That can like kick out some real damage if you get it in a flank. That speed 8 means it can turn, it can go off, grab objectives. It just multiplies your force so much. And that's important with Night Stalkers, because in 4th edition, I wouldn't call it the meta yet because, you know, we're English, we don't have the meta. However, a lot of the rules for the game push it towards having big core units. So like your Ironclad now, they're nerf 25. Your warriors for Northern Alliance, your Elf Palace Guard, importantly, your Orc Great Axe. These big units are the way to go forward. And Night Stalkers don't have that. The best they've got is a Butcher Horde for dealing damage, really. And with their they've got great defense, they've got good nerve, but they just can't stand up to units like that unless they multi-charge. And getting a multi-charge off against the Palace Guard Horde when you're the same speed, it is not easy. So you're going to have to play a careful chaff game. It's quite hard. But that's where the Void Talon comes in. So the Void Talon, just behind those Butchers, the Cloak does an extra point of damage. It's -1 nerve. And the Butchers are rallied. It's a force multiplier. So those Reaper units, those Soul Flayers, those Butchers actually have a chance against things that are a lot tougher than them. So it fits the army a lot better than the others. And it's a fantastic model.
Yeah. Would say the most creepiest model of all the champions, with his hands, his legs thing going on. Worth a painting project, I would say.
Oh, definitely. I've done a Night Stalker army for Firefight, but I've got so many Butchers in it and so many other things. I've sort of multi-based them. I've done them on round bases or square bases and done extra bases so they can just slot in. So I had a despoiler for my Abyss army. I ripped off its head, stuck a Butcher's head on it. So now I've got a Butcher Flesh Ripper. It's on a smaller base, so I can slot it into a base for King's War, or I can slot it into a base for Firefight. I've got a Gordrake model, which I'm using as a Void Lurker. I've done the same for that. So my Firefight army, I can use in Kings of War. And basically a friend was like, got a mystery box. He's like, I've got like 25 of the old resin butchers. They're no use to me. Does anybody want them? I was like, I'll take them off you cheap. So I've got them. I got some 3D print. Nick Williams up north, he had some 3D printed Empire of Dust Worm Riders that went wrong in the 3D print. He's like, does anybody want these? I'm just going to chuck them. I was like, I'll take them. I've converted them up with some of these old butchers. I've made some fiends. Another tournament, I got for some reason, as a prize, we got given ping pong balls with the tournament name on. Weirdest thing, I got into a lot of trouble throwing it around the room at the tournament. It was a lot of fun, but I've made that into a big eyeball and converted it up into a Mind Screech. So it's all converted, and I had a Frost Claw left. So my Void Talent, I'm converting from scratch out of a Frost Claw and doing it all weird and gross and fitting in the rest of my Firefight army. So I can use that in Kings of War as well. So I'm working on Void Talent at the moment. That gives it extra bonuses. The original Mantic model is fantastic. It's creepy. It's great in the background. And it's a little bit different for the Night Stalkers as well. They don't have a lot of individuality. And that model is so individual, it's obscene. Literally obscene. The neck skin almost looks like a particular gentleman's part, which we will not mention on the podcast. However, kids, don't do a load of mushrooms while painting that model, because you might go to the toilet, look down and see something looking back, which will haunt your dreams. So
yeah. Still great. So I love Night Stalkers in general for their creepiness in an army. It's like a different kind of creepiness you get from other games. I'm a little bit tempted to get myself a Night Stalker army and paint it like it was the artwork from the second edition book, like in all black or shadow shapes and just with glowing eyes. But yeah, a project for the future.
Yeah, there's a particular type of paint you can get. It's like the pigment is so dark it almost sucks light in. I've seen somebody doing an army like that and then just painting the faces. I've seen another guy do stuff when he painted the faces, doing it in like proper neon paints, and did a display board, and when he shined it on, it all came up in UV. So it was super scary. So there's loads of really cool stuff you can do like that. I started a Night Stalker army in Kings of War a couple of years back. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. I love the Alien movies. I grew up with them. I mean, I watched Aliens when I was like 10 or something, scared the crap out of me, but it's like stayed with me for my entire life, and I love them. So having like a Reaper's Butchers, almost like a space alien monster army, I wanted to do that. And I also love the kind of Americana horror, you know, like Children of the Corn and Village of the Damned and like Jeepers Creepers, that kind of Midwest cornfields, terrifying, like almost 80s horror. I love that. So an army of like scarecrows and soul flayers, that type of thing. I'd love to do an army of that. And I bought a load of stuff for it and dithered so much, thought I've got too many armies, so I got rid of them in the end, and then bought another army for Firefight. So I've had a long, turbulent relationship with Night Stalkers, but they're finally done, and I love them the way they are. I did a Firefight tournament a couple of months back, and I got best unit for my Gordrake and second best painted army for them. So super chuffed about that.
Yeah. So, dear listener, don't believe Danny. There is never enough armies, so you can't get too much. Don't listen to those kind of old people yelling at clouds thing. You can always get another one.
Well, I've got too many, I'll admit, but hobbies are supposed to be fun. One of the things I don't like about Fourth is the core. I'm going to call it a tax because it's a core tax. You only have a limited number of core units, and you're forced into using them. So if you do not like those basic core units, there's no point in doing an army because you have to paint them to do it. Whereas before you can be like, a lot of my armies are now complete trash because, like my Abyssal army, I have 1 unit of Succubi, 1 unit of Abyssal Guard, 1 unit of Tortured Souls, 1 unit of Heliquins, 1 unit of Molochs, because I like the hobby aspect. I want to paint different stuff. I do not want to have to paint 80 sodding Abyssal infantry just so I can take the few models that I do want to paint. It's not fun.
Yeah, this is definitely something that need to be worked on. It's turned list building completely around. I mean, I've heard from people who are more familiar with historical wargaming. It's fine because they're used to this kind of things, but for everyone else, I like that one unit, so I build my army around that one and just make it work, even if it's not the best army, it's the one I like. And then with the new army building, it's in a different way that still works to a point, but you need to get used to it and get annoyed fast when you want to do something in a different way. Right. So it's like I'm also not a fan of doing how to say it, the same unit several times just to unlock the units I want. But this is like let's see how Mantic resolves that issue, because we got some preview for Fracture that moving around units will be more possible, if that's the right word. So
Yeah,
locking in the future.
I want to read. I say I haven't done any podcasting over the last 6 months. Obviously, start of fourth's been quite turbulent. I've been to quite a few events, but I haven't done any roving reporting stuff yet, because I did one in November. Is it October, November? About all the pre-release stuff, the podcasts and what have you, just talking to people what they thought was coming out. But I want to give it 6 months after Fracture, because at the moment I am really not happy with fourth. We could do an entire episode and a lot of it would be me swearing.
Yeah, I mean,
there is some great stuff in fourth that I really enjoy, but they fixed a lot of stuff, and then at some point they fixed it all, but there's so much they just shit the bed over. Sorry for swearing, but they did.
Yeah, it's you have to work it out. It's mine. There's a lot of how to say it. There are a lot of good things. There are some bad things, and there are things that you need to get used to it. And I mean, I rate fourth neutral in a general sense, because there are things I like, or I like a lot more than on third. Then there are other things that I don't like, or would have preferred even the third edition or second edition approach to it, and others are okayish. So my overall state is neutral. It's an improvement to a point. So the overall gameplay and so if someone starts with fourth now and doesn't know about what previously was in Kings of War, it's a lot easier compared to original third edition, where already 3.5 was a big improvement, and fourth is another more. So it's like the entry level is really there for the beginner, with also Kings of War Champions, as we do a podcast on that one, really helps as well. But then it's like when you played since second edition, or even were they in first edition already, things start to get annoying, and then it's like you have to find a balance, and we see how the game develops, and when or what the opinion changes when everything's settled.
Yeah. So at the moment, my main issue is the two main systems that they've put in to be able to change the game are the army list builder and command orders. And the more, every time you mess around with them, it messes around with people's hobby. So a lot of people online will just be like, oh, well, why don't you just take 2 units of them? But taking 2 units of them means I then have to go spend 60 quid. I have to spend 2 months of my life I finally get them on the table a month after that. And then a couple of months after that, they go, oh, actually, sorry, we actually thought that command order was a little bit too powerful. So we've taken that away and we've changed it for this. And now this unit's crap. And I've just wasted 3 months of my precious hobby time to paint some models I didn't want to paint in the first bloody place, just because you couldn't get your act together in the first place. It's, I think the two systems they've set up are going to cause a lot more frustration than they need to do, when they could have put something in place to start with that was better. So I was quite vocal about how bad command dice were. In Firefight, they're a great game. Me and Chris had a lovely big episode of me swearing at him and him going, but they changed that. The new system is a lot better. I will quite happily say Mantic did a great job improving the command order system from what they did to what we've got now. Yeah. However, it's still not brilliant. It's okay as a command order system, but it's not brilliant. So I want to see how they're going to change it in Fracture, and then I want to see how they're going to change it in Arrogance.
Yeah,
at the moment,
I mean, it's like I really like the command orders from Champions because it fits the game. It also command orders fits the Firefight, but we haven't figured out the right feeling for Kings of War yet. I think it's because some people already say it should be more command orders to really double down on this combo stuff to develop. Others think it's already too much, that each army should just have one command order, but that one is a decisive one. So yeah, let's see how things develop and things I have, how to say, trust that things work out. I mean, it's also third edition in the beginning wasn't also that great. It also took a while until things settled, and with 3.5 the game really took off as it was then in a much better state. But this is also something people, because this was all the whole pandemic thing going on while this was on, and so people don't really remember or recall how things changed and developed over time, because this is still a long going already. So some focus just on the positive without remembering the negative that we had with the previous edition change. So yeah,
I mean, I've been torn to 2017 was my first Clash of Kings, I think. So I've been doing, what's that now, 9 years?
Yeah.
So I started off with second because basically I wanted to play Warhammer, and this was probably the closest rule set. A local shop did. I was looking at other rule sets at the time, but this just seemed to work. And slowly over time, the lore of Hammer Thor's got better and better. I started off with my Bretonian army, but at that point, Uncharted Empires came out, and I was just like, I really want to paint some fishmen, because I've been playing Horus Heresy before that, and I just got sick of painting Space Marine after Space Marine. And yeah, just slowly over time, I really got into Mantic stuff. Play Dead Zone, love Firefight is easily like the best game Mantic do. Absolutely fantastic. And Kings of War has been like my main hobby up until 4th edition. Like I say, because of the new army builder, I started off with like 14 armies I could use at a tournament level, and I've gone down to 3. One's my ogres, which is the shooting army, so I can put it on the table, but I can't bloody kill anything with it now. And the other's my dwarves. And getting rid of the hunting packs and getting rid of the free dwarf rules, they are so boring to play now. I just couldn't write or play a list that I just like thought, this isn't any fun at all, really. And Forces of Nature is the one army that I thought, I like the synergies. I can kind of like, I can work with this. And already, let's say, they've changed the command order. So I'm not, admittedly, it's one of the best command orders there is out there. But they've taken it away from third. So all the units, the elementals, the forest shamblers, what have you, they all had terrain mitigation in 3rd edition, and they were fun to play. That was their thing. And now we're like, hey, we're giving you Strider back. It might work at some point, or it might not at all. And when your hammers have got Thunderous 2 and you're hitting on 4s, your water elementals are now going from probably doing 7 to 8 wounds to doing maybe 3. And it's little changes like that can have a big impact on your army construction. So now, even though I've done 3 tournaments with that list, really love playing with it. It suits me perfectly. I might now go and have to change it because every time I put it on the table, I can't pass my command order. This sucks. Why am I even starting playing this? It's not a matter of winning games. It's a matter of having a good gaming experience.
It's how you feel about the gaming thing. So yeah, well, we are already in a good time anyway, and I now have to cut Dennis how to say raging off a little bit because we have our last bonus champion to rate, and this is like now Danny can guess as well because it isn't actually released yet. It's the
Is it Tickle Bum Soft Hoof?
Yeah.
Great.
I don't know
I've forgotten his
what's
name.
actually the I need to just check it. Yidrin, how you would pronounce that one?
I don't have it written down in front of me, so
yeah, it's YDREN Thorn Creeper. So Yidrin. Yidrin. Yeah, no, I'm terrible with names in general and then terrible at pronouncing anything. So yeah, well, it's definitely wrong as how I do it, but let's see if someone comes up with a better solution. And he is the one the one resting on his rock. So also a great model for Herd that's coming up. So he's the new champion in Fracture with the next Champions box coming up. And the big question now is, what do we think he will be? Because I'm going to say he's average. He will fit right into the middle, like with the other new ones.
Yeah, he's only a weenie. We'll give him a nice respective B. Actually, should we put him in A? Because like Zozoi Pro Master, it is honestly one of the most characterful, beautiful models that Mantic have ever produced. So let's put him in A for now. Let's soup him up because it is absolutely stunning model. Totally worth it.
Yeah. That's another tactical rock done right.
It's not in a sock.
Yeah. Oh, but I think he can throw it. So this is like never underestimate the small guys. Right. So how to say, dear listener, I hope you enjoyed this episode of us doing off-topic talk and rating the champions. And also, if you want us to go a little bit deep into the state of 4th edition and have us raging with criticism and swear words and whatever positive we have to say about it, let us know in the comments and also tell us if you like the things this episode. Join our Discord, leave a comment on Spotify, on YouTube, and whatever you wish us to cover in Kings of War in future. And with this now getting late and I have to walk the dogs, I wish you a wonderful morning, day, or night whenever you are listening, and goodbye.
Bye.